They say when the first guy saw a mountain, he said, "Let's climb it." But I'll lay you odds that the first thing he said was, "The last one to reach the top's a monkey's uncle." And he probably was. Because the urge to race, to be the first one on top, has got to be just about as old as man himself. And the only thing that's changed is that the guy finally learned that if he put a motor ahead of him or behind him, he could go a heck of a lot faster and maybe win quicker. Especially if winning means you're not only racing somebody else, but racing on or against things like mountains or wind or water at the same time. And let me tell you, if anybody were going to race anybody on anything with a motor behind them, for me, I guess the most exciting would be on water. Hi, I'm Bill Muncy, and I'd like to tell you about one of the most unique water races ever held anywhere, the Wide World Marine Invitational.
The race Bill's talking about is going to be talked about for a long, long time to come. That is until someone comes up with something tougher. And they'll have to go some. Because if there's anybody with more racing foam in his wake than Bill Muncy, we haven't met him yet. The fact is, he thought up the idea. It sounds pretty simple. For the first time in marine racing, there would be a race where everything, from bow to stern, port to starboard, beginning to end, was matched as close as humanly possible. With all the tests, all the ability and skill, all the win or lose, resting on the driver himself. And naturally, that would begin with the boats themselves. They're tunnel boats, 14.5 feet long, low beam, with a chunk of hull cut down the middle to make them fly faster. There were 15 of them, plywood, slick enough for a snail to slide off, fragile enough to be shipped in padding, and matched to the final fractions of an inch. And to make sure they stayed matched, the installation work and modifications were done by the same experts under the same roof at the same time at Evan Rood's test station in Stuart, Florida. And then came the most important item of all. The one item that's the extension of the driver himself. The motor. The motor he counts on to win. 15 factory-matched 75s, fresh from their packing crates, identically mounted and bolted on 15 identically matched hulls, without a fractional margin of difference. Each boat's steering mechanism matched the others. Tilt control was adjusted the same way, with an equal amount of transom cut out for equal steerage. Batteries with identical charges were identically placed, along with gas tanks. There were 2 tanks, one for gas, the other for water, to assure equal weight and balance at the static waterline. And once that had all been done, the 15 identical boats were weighed. And if needed, water was added to the second tank so that the weight of each boat matched the other one to the ounce. Necessary trim came next, with the identification of all of those who joined to make this one-of-a-kind race possible. And those names and eventual numbers would be the only difference each boat would ever have. And 15 three-bladed racing props, honed and pitched without a flaw, were secured to the 15 identical shafts. Then, at last, each hull was introduced to the element it was built and designed for. And each individual motor was precisely tuned to the exact smooth maximums. And there was nothing left to be done. Each boat, each motor was the perfectly matched twin of the other. And all of them were race ready.
drivers are out on the course now testing, ladies and gentlemen. They are allowing only 2 drivers at a time onto the course for the 3-day period. They have 2 test boats. 15 boats are identical. 16 and 17 are the same, but they are being used for testing. The boats that will actually be raced out here today have not yet been in the water for any test period at all. They are going in cold this morning. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Wide World Invitational, the Marine Invitational that features 15 of the world's top drivers, literally from all over the world and the United States.
November 29th, 1975, the Marine Stadium, Miami, Florida. And the first totally matched race in marine racing history. And with everything else totally equal, all that was needed were 15 matched drivers. And since there is no such animal, the Worldwide Invitational settled on nothing less than an international who's who of marine racing champions. 15 of the world's best speedboat drivers competing on the basis of ability and skill alone. And believe me, each of them took advantage of every practice lap they could grab. There's nothing like getting to know that matched tool that could win or lose for you. And when it comes to a trial run, there's nobody going to hold a tighter stopwatch than your own wife.
We'll get the boat that finished first, and it's going to be exciting all the way around. So watch very
And what did
closely.
this unmatched collection of racing champions think of the idea of a mechanically matched race? Well, we asked a few of them, such as Angelo Vicena from Italy.
I think this competition is the best solution for have all the most important drivers in the world have together here in Miami with the same boat, same engine, same weight.
Or Roger Jenkins from Wales.
But I think it's still going to be the technique of flying these boats into and out of the wind.
Or our own Jimbo McConnell.
Well, you couldn't have picked a finer class to do your comparison with, because this particular 75 horsepower Evinrude, for example, it gives enough power to fly the boat to get your speed of running 75 miles an hour, for example, but it has a tendency in a turn to bog, what we call bog, where the boat gets wet. And it takes a certain amount of skill for the driver to free the boat and get it airborne.
Everyone told me when you feel it flying, you know, you got to be careful, because all of a sudden you're upside down and backwards, and there's nothing you can do then, of course.
And what America's own Mickey Raymond just added carried a lot more truth than fiction. And the course itself wasn't going to help matters either. To hear Bill Munsey tell it.
For starting preferences, they run from a safety buoy here along a great long straightaway to the starting line at the grandstand. And then it becomes something more than just stabbing and steering and turning left. It was designed to bring out the driver's maximum skills and competitive reflexes. It's just a little over a mile long, rather short. It's laid out in this sort of boomerang, as it were, and it puts the maximum stress on turns both here and here, with the boats racing counterclockwise, sometimes against torque, sometimes with it. It just plain wasn't designed to be easy.
And then it was time to put it to the test.
From Brazil, Wally Franz, Billy Shoemaker of the United States, Roger Jenkins of England, Johnny Sanders of the United States, Jimbo McConnell of the United States, Barry Woods of the United States, Angelo Vicena from Italy, Andre Derks of Belgium, Jerry Bangs from the United States, Bill Badsey of South Africa, Jorge Rignicoli from Argentina, Jeff Briggs from the
The final
United
check
States,
being a physical one for each driver. And most of them ended up carrying sandbags to keep the loaded weight of each boat as equal as everything else.
Going underway now, ladies and gentlemen, as they sandbag the boats and
There were
balance
3
them out.
qualifying 5-lap heats and a final race. Each driver drew for his boat in the first heat, with the winning driver driving the slowest boat in the next heat, until the 3 slowest boats had been eliminated.
For the first time, we'll be touching the water here at the stadium. We are ready now, ladies and gentlemen, to start in heat number 1 of this fine Bill Munsey Marine Invitational. Ladies and gentlemen, as the boats come by, we want you to give a great big wave out there to your favorite
The 5
driver.
begun.
We want you to root for them.
That meant the driver had about 3 or 4 minutes of warm-up and 1 minute left to jockey for start position.
Through each heat today. We are looking for elimination, so let's watch them closely as they come by you now for the very first time, ladies and gentlemen. These are the drivers from all around the world who will be competing for this great honor of winning the first annual. It looks like there's an accident on the course. Ladies and gentlemen, Barry Woods of Seattle, Washington, and Wally Franz of Brazil have hit together. They've hit together. Woods' boat is sinking. He's going under, ladies and gentlemen, trying to stop the other boats around him now. Franz trying to get back into the pit area, and it looks like severe damage to his boat. His boat is gone on over as they try to put it on the trailer. Barry Woods, it looks like there's no hope at all for that boat. Extensive damage to Brand's boat. They have 2 standbys, but will they be able to get either of the boats in the water before this heat starts?
Both drivers eliminated from the first heat, and both boats would have to be replaced.
It looks like they're going to get Woods out of there, and it looks like they will be able to go. Let's check and see if they can get Brand's boat ready and in the water back out in time for the start of the race. It looks like the damage is too much. They are going to pull Brand's boat out of the water, back up onto the land trailer, and that is where it's going to sit, ladies and gentlemen, with extensive hull damage. And here goes the start of the race. They are going to go ahead and let the race start without 2 of the drivers. So we are down now to 13 drivers as they come down to take the start. The white flag is up. We're in the final moments now, this final 60 seconds, ticking off on the big clock where all the drivers can see it. They are trying for an even start. They'd like to be nose on the line at the start when the final gun fires off. So watch them closely, ladies and gentlemen. Remember, it depends on the driver's skill, exactly what they're going to be able to do on this boomerang-type course in the Miami Marine Stadium. Here they come to the final seconds now, and it looks like a good start as they come down side by side, ladies and gentlemen, and there they go. They're off and running now into turn number 1. Turn number 1, and going right out in front in this first heat is Bill Banzi of South Africa, an outboard driver from South Africa who came all the way up here, and look at him go. He is really leading this pack as they go out in equal boats. It does not look like Banzi's boat is equal, but it actually is. He got a very good start. He got that clear water going into turn number 1. Now he goes through the boomerang and is still holding the lead, and he is really seeing some battles behind him. Back in second place is Jimbo McConnell, and he's got a little competition on the outside of him in third from Johnny Sanders. So we have South Africa out in front and 2 United States drivers taking the
Bill Banzi finished the first heat in first place, and Jimbo McConnell came in second.
As the winner goes back into the pit area now, ladies and gentlemen, you can see Barry Woods' boat out of Seattle, Washington, being towed back in upside down. The boat is destroyed. It will not be back out today. Here they come, ladies and gentlemen, and they're too early. They're coming up much too fast, ladies and gentlemen, at International Field, and it looks like they're going to jump.
In the second heat, both Banzi and McConnell, along with 3 other drivers, were penalized an extra lap for jumping the gun. Georgie Regnagoli came in first, Johnny Saunders second.
This note just in from the pit area, ladies and gentlemen, of the 2 boats that were in that collision just before the start of the first heat that you just saw. Wally Franz and Barry Woods, both of those boats totally destroyed, but the engines have restarted, so the engines will be on standby. We're into the final seconds of preparation now, ladies and gentlemen. The boats are coming down for the start. Watch them closely. They're trying to decide the 12 boats that'll go into the final heat. It looks like a good start. They're coming down side by side. Shoemaker and Banzi break away from the pack just a little bit, and they lead them across. It's a perfect start. Going down into the first turn now, it is going to be Banzi trying to take the lead on the inside as they come down and around turn number 1. This will be the turn that tells all the story. Banzi trying to hold it, and Vecina, Angela Vecina, cuts to the inside and misses the buoy. As they continue through turn number 1 now, it's an accident. Mickey Raymond, who's never driven one of these boats before, went high and wide and went right over on top. Raymond now trying to scooter to the top of the boat. He'll try to signal. We'll see if he's okay. If he gives his hands up, he'll be okay. We'll try to get a rescue boat over to him momentarily. And there you're going to see it in just a second. Now let's see how he signals. Mickey Raymond says he is all right. He's okay, but the boat is not. It is sinking. Back onto the race course now. The boats continue on around turn number 5, and it is in the lead. Bill Banzi of South Africa, followed by Roger Jenkins of England. The boats are continuing hard on the course. These evenly matched boats that were set up in identical
Bill Banzi won that heat too, with Jeff Briggs of the United States coming in second. At the end of all 3 qualifying heats, Angelo Vicente of Italy, Wally Franz of Brazil, and Jerry Bangs of the USA had been eliminated. That left a field of 12 for the final 10-lap race and a $25,000 purse.
Watch them as they take the start, and it is a perfect start. No one jumped the gun. All boats in contention. All right, as they come down and around the course now, Shoemaker really putting it on the rest of the crowd, and Shoemaker is going to break away. Much like Banzi did in the first heat, Shoemaker literally breaks away from the pack. Back in second place now, Jimbo McConnell is trying hard to move up there, but Woods takes it over, and then it's Briggs, Jeff Briggs, into third place.
And so it went, with Shoemaker holding the lead, Woods hard behind him, and Briggs coming up third. And it probably would have ended that way if it hadn't been for the 8th lap.
The first time. Wait a minute, we've had a wild accident on the course, ladies and gentlemen. A wild accident as Barry Woods, who was up in second place, literally speared a buoy on the front of his hydroplane. It's a pickle fork tightrope, and it literally picked up that buoy just like a pickled pork would pick up a pickle. And he is now riding around with it. Ladies and gentlemen, the officials have ruled he will have to go an extra lap. That not only cost him second place, but $3,000.
Second place and $3,000 went to Jeff Briggs. Third place, $2,500, went to England's Roger Jenkins. Fourth and fifth places went to Johnny Saunders of the USA and Bill Badsey of South Africa. The winner, a new world champion driver and possessor of a $10,000 purse, Billy Shoemaker.
Bill Shoemaker, the man of the hour in the pit area.
He was the winner of the first perfectly matched marine race ever attempted. And judging from the response, it won't be the last. And next time, there will probably be a few new wrinkles added just to make it a little more competitive. There's always that certain instinct that says, let's race.
All the way, a very, very happy young lady, Cindy Dootson, who said she's going to take the money and go out and have some fun.